Wedding Shenanigans Part 3. We got on our flight to Mauritius late at night. We were buzzing with excitement and the drinks that we had had. Charlie liked to fly economy or business class because he was money savvy, but I loved luxury. Whenever we flew together, we compromised on flying business class. This was my first time in first class in over a year. Soon after we boarded, a flight attendant came to attend to us. She beamed when she saw us. "I heard there was a pair of newlyweds on the plane. Congratulations! The captain sent this gift for the both of you." She smiled while handing us a bottle of wine. It was a beautiful red wine that seemed to be expensive. "Well, thank you so much. We are very grateful for the captain's gift. Please do thank him for us," Charlie said. She nodded then left. We opened the wine then poured it into our glasses. "Cheers to us," I said, raising my glass. "Cheers." He clinked his glass with mine. We sat in silence for a while, enjoying the wine and each other's company. It felt so nice to relax and unwind after a stressful few weeks at work. We were now officially married. "Well then, my dear husband, how are you feeling?" I asked. "I'm feeling overwhelmed, but in a good way. We tied the knot and today is the first day of the rest of our lives together. Is that not fantastic?" he said, leaning over across the table to give me a soft peck. "You're right. From now on, we are one. I cannot wait for us to start our own family," I said. "Oh, I know that you cannot wait. I have seen you looking up adoption sites and surrogacy sites as well," he smirked. "Oh, you know me. I like to stay ahead. I'm still not sure what the best option for us though," I sighed, taking a sip of the wine. It was a bit bitter, just the way I liked it. "Well, I did give you a free rein over the decision. Whatever choice you make, I will support you. Do not rush as well. We have all the time in the world." He smiled as he squeezed my hand. "Thank you, my love. Are you ready to order yet?" I asked. "Yeah, I'm ready to order. I would like to try some of that fancy food you're always raving about," he said. He was such a simple man when it came to food. You could give him a hamburger or a taco and he would be happy. He did not care too much about food, and he did not have a ravenous appetite like mine. What he did overindulge in though was fashion. The man loved fashion like no one's business. He would overspend on fabric as if he was not on a budget. He would make sure that his clothes were premium quality no matter what the cost was. He would have rather lost sleep than went to bed dissatisfied with his work. That was why I loved him so much. His dedication to seeing everything through was admirable. We called the attendant over and told her that we wanted to order. We ordered shrimp and prawns as that was my favorite seafood. She then went off to get our food prepared. The first class was worth every single cent, to be honest. It always lived up to my standards. I was posh, as my husband loved to say. I had not always been posh, but I had once been a poor boy, dreaming of living a luxurious life. We had been sitting there for a while, making small talk when our food arrived. It was steaming hot and it smelled appetizing. The flavor attacked my senses as soon as the food was laid down in front of me. I was tempted to dig in, but I wanted to see how my husband was going to react to the food, so I grudgingly waited. He opened the lid that was on top to reveal a steaming plate of prawns and shrimp. "Wow, they smell amazing." His eyes glimmered. He took one and bit into it. I watched him take the bite, excited to see his reaction. He was expressionless, betraying nothing as he chewed. He then smiled the biggest smile I had ever seen. "Wow, this is appetizing. I cannot believe that I have been avoiding prawns and shrimps all my life. I have truly been missing out," he said as he took another bite. Satisfied with this reaction, I took a bite of my own food. The flavors burst in my mouth. All the spices and seasoning took my breath away. I nearly moaned from the pleasure right there and then. We continued to dig into our food and we were quiet for a little while. We did not even speak for the remainder of the meal, just ate. Soon we were very full and could not eat anymore. We again called the attendant to take the food away. Charlie came to sit beside me and we watched a movie. We watched one of the newest movies that had recently come up, which was Don't Look Up. The movie was interesting enough, but we were both so tired so we ended up falling asleep in each other's arms. The rest of the flight was enjoyable. We spoke, ate, and watched a few more movies. Soon, we landed at the airport. Our luggage was going to be delivered to the hotel later on, so our tour guide, Pablo, took us to the hotel so that we could check in and freshen up. The place was simply gorgeous with clear blue skies and friendly natives. I was pretty sure that our week there was going to be the best week yet. We arrived at our hotel, which was called Sunset Hotel. It was small, but very exquisite. We had chosen it because it had the best service in the country, and it was very exclusive. It had also been paid for by Eric and his bride. A doorman welcomed us and led us to the reception. The welcoming room was very beautiful. It was a cream color with golden chandeliers hanging from the ceiling. The pillars reminded me of Roman architecture due to their style and size. There were guests milling about, some coming in and some going out. We approached the receptionist's desk. She was a dark-haired lady who wore glasses when she saw us. "Welcome to Mauritius. We hope that you enjoy your stay here. These are the keys to your honeymoon suite," she said as she handed them to us. We had called ahead to tell them that we were on our way so that they could ensure that our room was ready. We took our keys and a young lady came to escort us. It was a 3-story hotel, so we decided to take the stairs, even though there was an elevator available. We reached our room and we entered it. It was a very large room that was beautifully decorated. The bed lay in the middle of it where it was draped with golden cloth. There were also red petals scattered in the form of a heart. The floors were littered with flowers and boxes of expensive chocolates. I heard Charlie gasp beside me and I smiled. Not a lot to impress that man, but it seemed that the room had lived up to his expectations. I was pretty much speechless over how the room looked. The hostess handed back our key cards and left us alone. It was late evening when we arrived, so we had no plans to wake up. We had jet lag, so we decided to go sleep, then we would wake up for dinner later. We did not even bother changing our clothes. We just hopped onto the bed and fell asleep in each other's arms. I slept very peacefully as I was very exhausted. Later on, our alarm rang and we had to wake up. I ordered room service, and as we waited for our food, we decided to shower together. I let the water run over me as I experienced the joy of being there with him. The water cascaded over his toned body. He was not particularly muscular, he was just toned enough. He was sexy to me either way. I loved the way his long hair fell down his back. "Do you want me to wash your back?" I asked. "Really? That would be wonderful, babe." He grinned. I came behind him and started washing his back. The smooth feel of his skin beneath my fingers soothed me. I squirted some shampoo onto my hands and massaged it into his scalp. He leaned into me, relaxing onto my body. I then washed him off and he did the same for me. Then we got out of the shower and dried ourselves with our towels. I could not resist how sexy he looked, with his shirtless torso and wet hair dangling from his head. I watched the tiny droplets of water he had missed glistened in the light. I walked closer to him, as if I was in a trance. I laid my hand on his chest and began trailing down it as I locked eyes with him. I watched as his breath caught and his eyes darkened. His lips parted and I leaned in to kiss him. He pulled me closer, tugged at my hair. "I want you right now," he whispered. "Me too," I said as we made our way to the bed. Just at that moment, the doorbell rang. I groaned at the sudden interruption. Right, dinner. How could we have forgotten? My stomach grumbled as I thought about the food. "To be continued," I said, giving him a peck. I went to the door, then I opened it. A busboy was there and he had our food. He pushed the trailer there, then he left. We took the food out and laid it on a table. There were a lot of delicacies ranging from local food to other favorites. We took our seats opposite each other and dug in. It was very interesting to experience new kinds of dishes. It did not hurt that the food was well prepared and delicious. "Wow, this is amazing. I didn't know the food could taste this good," Charlie said, practically drooling over the chicken he was eating that had been prepared the local way. "I know, right? Local food has so much zest, completely different to the food back home." I agreed. We then ate our dessert, which was some local sweets. They were different. Some were a bit sour, which was a nice little surprise. While we were eating, I decided to tease my husband. I kicked his foot beneath the table and he instantly looked up at me. I gave an innocent coy smile and shrugged. He went back to eating, then I did it again. He glared at me and I smiled innocently. Despite wanting to burst out laughing, he just shook his head and went back to eating. I did it again, and this time he opened his mouth to say something, but he stopped. I had a lollipop in my mouth and I was sucking it suggestively while he looked at me. His eyes darkened as I swirled the lollipop on my tongue. I could tell where his mind was going and I was excited to see what he would do next. "You are playing a dangerous game," he warned. I took it out of my mouth and looked at him with mock fear. Then I smirked and put it back in my mouth. He shook his head as he got up and made his way to me. I tensed as I sensed what he was about to do to me. He came up behind me and started running his hands through my hair. I felt tingles at his hand travel down my back, exploring me. He brought his mouth close to my ear and began sucking it. "Damn," I said, as I became aroused and my eyes rolled to the back of my head. "Get up," he whispered. I jumped up and turned to face him. He took my hand and suddenly he was carrying me to the bed. He laid me down gently and hovered over me. He took out his phone from his pocket and started pressing it. A moment later, music poured over the room. "Love Me Like You Do" by Ellie Goulding started playing. I smiled up at him, then pulled him down onto me. Our bodies pressed onto each other as we began to ravage each other. I lightly ran my tongue down his neck, then I started sucking on it. He groaned and held on tighter to me as I gave him a hickey. He was mine on paper and physically. Tonight, I would make sure that he knew that. I kissed up and down his neck, then I took off his shirt. He took off mine and we were both left breathless. The desire ran deep when we looked at each other. This was beyond physical. My soul craved him and I would have him. He started kissing me from my Adam's apple to my collarbone. He looked up at me and we locked eyes. His kisses trailed down further until he reached my belly button. He then stuck out his tongue and licked it. I whimpered as tingles ran down my spine. He trailed down further as he was at my pants. He took them off rather quickly and started kissing my feet. They curled as he gave them light kisses. He moved up the rest of my body, then I unbuckled his pants. Our breathing quickened the more we touched each other. Everywhere he had touched me was on fire, and I loved it that way. I wanted to have his thoughts tattooed on my skin. I wanted his scent to linger on my skin. I wanted his body melted into mine. I wanted anything that would bring me closer to him. At that moment, I had to settle for him setting me on fire. I could not resist him anymore. We had been teasing each other for far too long and we had reached the climax. I looked him in the eyes and gave him that look. We pretty much burnt the sheets that night as we ravaged each other's bodies. All I knew was him. All I smelt, saw, felt, heard, and tasted was him. And we both reached climax. We were in a state of shared euphoria. I could hardly breathe as we collapsed to each other, barely alive. "Wow, now that is what I call a honeymoon night," I whispered. "I cannot wait to show you that every moment I can during this week," he said in his deep, husky voice. And so we did just that. The following week was a week in paradise. We would get up late and have breakfast, which was always appetizing. We would then exercise either by going out to the hotel's gym or by going jogging. We soon made friends with a lot of couples who were visiting. Most of the time, we went to the beach. The ocean was the truest blue imaginable. No words could ever describe it, and not even a picture would do it justice. We would swim and lay on the white beach while sipping cocktails. We had a lot of old favorites and some new ones as well. We swapped the beach for the spa several times where we would spend the day being pampered. We got our massages while eating delicious chocolate coupled with champagne. Those were the best moments where we could just relax and let the masseuse sort out any tension that was in our bodies. We also went shopping several times. We went to many gift shops where we bought gifts for our friends and families back home. We also bought ourselves a lot of clothes and jewelry. The malls there had so much variety that I could not even take my eyes off of everything. Everything tempted me. A lot of the time was spent being intimate. We simply could not take our hands off each other. Every chance that we got, we satisfied our urges. We could not get enough of each other. He was just too irresistible to me. We were very happy and the pictures we took reflected that. With our new friends, we hit the clubs a few times. There we danced till the sun came out. We spent the nights drinking and having fun with our friends. We went to a lot of clubs, never staying in one for far too long. By the end of the trip, we were tired yet rested. We left the place happy because we had made good memories and friends that we would cherish for the rest of our lives. On the flight home, we were so tired that we slept all the way back. We decided to have a surrogate carry our first child, whom we named Haley. She was the apple of our eye, always getting up to mischief, but we loved her more than life itself. A few years later, we adopted Theo, who came from Nigeria. His parents had died when he was a few months old and he had been orphaned. With our 2 kids, we lived a very comfortable life. It was like something out of a fairy tale, but so much better. It was better because it was real. I was not going to put down the book, then the spell would be broken. I was not going to wake up and it would all have been a dream. It was all real. The end. Thanks for watching. Consider subscribing to become a part of a rainbow force. Stay wholesome.